Studies today. Our Friday classes are all about deals and understanding what's going on in the marketplace and understanding students' case studies and how they do what they do. So this morning we've got Ryan Mesina on with us. Ryan is in the Philippines, very sharp young man, and he owns a piece of real estate. Now, in our poll we just did, the majority of people do not own any real estate. So let's start with figuring out how he got into that first property and how he bought his first house. So Ryan, if you want to take the screen, we're going to go to Google Earth, type in the address, and we're going to see the property itself. Then what we're going to do is we're going to ask him some questions because I would like to know how he actually did this. So Ryan, this is a house that you live in right now that you bought. And it looks like there's multiple houses in that neighborhood that are somewhat similar in size and in location. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, good. So a couple questions for you. How did you find this house?
So we were planning to have our own house, our own place, and then we were just browsing on the Facebook, and then we saw this deal. And usually in the Philippines, you before you own a particular house, you have to make a down payment. And so happened that the firm who was selling this
Okay, all right.
house.
So I'm going to ask you some questions. Is that
Okay.
okay? All right,
Yeah.
because I'd like to know how this all worked. So the first question is, what was the purchase price? What was the purchase price when you bought it?
1,700,000 pesos.
Okay, so it's 1 million. Give me a second here. 1,700,000 pesos, right?
Mhm. Right.
That was the price. What was the value of the property? If you were to buy that property, when you were buying it, were you buying it for under market value? Or what was it actually worth?
Um,
Was it worth that much?
no, I would say 1.3.
So, so you said the value, the resale value, when you bought it, you wanted to turn around
Okay.
and sell it. How much could
Oh,
you
well,
sold it
I would
for
say
when you buy it? Or did you buy it for full price?
no. Well, if I'm gonna resell it, I'm gonna sell it for like 2.5.
Okay, but when you bought it, the day you bought it, what was it worth? And did you get a deal or did you pay full price for it?
Uh, no.
Was it worth more than you bought it for?
Yeah.
Okay, how much was it worth the day you bought it?
1.7.
Okay, that was the purchase price. So you paid full price for it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the value is 1.7 and you paid full price for it. 1.7 million.
1.7.
Good. Did you come up with a down payment? Did you have to pay a down payment on it?
Yes.
Okay, how much was the down?
95,000.
No, it was just 95,000, that's it?
Yeah, as I said, they were in promo, so.
Okay, so we're going to say 95,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now you still owe 1.6 million dollars on it.
Right.
Okay, just for fun, we're going to just round that up to make it a little bit easier, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to say it was 100,000.
Mm.
Now you still owe 1.6 million on it, right? How did you get that? Did you go to the bank?
Yes.
Okay, so you got a loan. Who did you get the loan from?
Uh, Pag-ibig.
Which is the bank or is it a
Yeah,
mortgage?
as a bank.
Okay, so there's different ways to get loans. One is literally a bank that makes loans. The other ones are mortgage companies that's all they do is make loans. So this you went to the bank, right?
Right.
Okay, good. The 1.6 million, what's the interest rate on the 1.6?
0.6.
So it's 6%.
Uh-huh.
So it's a 6% loan. And how long is the loan for?
What was that?
How long is the loan for? How many
30
years?
years.
It's
30
a 30-year
years.
loan. Is the interest rate fixed? Can it go up and down? Or is it
Um,
stuck? Is it just stuck at 6%?
so when I purchase it, it's like, no, they said it's gonna be fixed 6%. So
So it's just stuck. So that's going to be your payment. How much is your payment a month?
10,800.
10,800 pesos is your monthly payment, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, that's the principal and interest on it. Some of it's principal and some of it's interest. But you're going to pay this off over a 30-year period of time,
Mm,
right?
right.
Okay, good. Do you have other costs? Do you have insurance that you have to pay?
Insurance for the house or what kind of
Yeah,
insurance right now?
on the
Yeah,
house.
it's already there. It's already included in 10.8. So
Okay, so um is there taxes that you have to pay? Property
no,
tax.
no,
Do you have to pay any property tax at all?
no.
Okay. So is there any property tax in the Philippines? If you own real estate, do you have to pay extra money because you own it in taxes?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Let's throw in the chat. Anybody else in the Philippines, do you have property tax? Do you have to pay any taxes on your real estate?
Mm,
Because this is what we would call PI. In America, we call it PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Right now, you're saying that the principal amount and the interest amount and is in there, and then there's a little bit for the insurance. How much is the insurance a year?
I need to look on my documents. It's already included in 10.8. I just
Yeah.
forgot
Mhm.
the exact amount.
That's okay. All we're trying to do is to get a big understanding of how all this works. Throw in the chat. Do people have to pay property taxes in the Philippines? Okay, real property taxes paid yearly. That's what Candy says. Joseph said yes. Candy, yes,
Mm,
yearly. Okay, so you have to, they're taking that out of your payment. They're taking that money and they're paying the property tax every year, but they're charging you for it.
right,
All right. So what I'm saying is part of this payment, part of its principal, part of its interest, part of its taxes, and part of its insurance.
right.
Now, the reason I'm going through this is because I want you to understand how all this works. Because if you take 1.6 million and we put that into our calculator, that's the loan amount and 6% interest on a 30-year term, then the payment on a monthly basis is 9,592. That's principal and interest. The other amount, that 500, that 1,000, that $1,300 is for taxes and insurance. So they're just wrapping it right into your loan. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So that's your total payments, 10,800. That's your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Part of that is principal and interest.
Mm,
And part of that is your taxes and insurance. Now,
mm,
out of the $9,592, that's just principal interest. How much money do you think you're going to pay in interest over the life of that loan? Any idea? You know, it's okay if you don't know because hardly anybody ever knows.
yeah.
You're going to
Yeah, I'm
pay
not. Mm,
3,453,411. 341, excuse me. Give me a second. I made a mistake there. It looks like you're going to pay 1,853,411 in interest. You're going to pay more in interest on that home than you did the purchase price.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm seeing a little smirk right there, a little smile like, what?
That's a lot.
I'm going to pay more on that stinking property in interest. By the time you pay this whole property off, you're going to pay 3.453,411 total. You're paying more in interest than you are in
Yeah,
the purchase price.
right.
Now, does that kind of suck?
Of course.
A little bit, huh? All right.
Yeah,
Would you like to pay that off faster? Would you like to own your real estate faster?
yeah.
Okay, there's three things that we can do when we're doing our real estate. Three things. So there's three things we can do. One, we can increase our payment.
Mm,
That's number one. Number two, we can buy it for less. And number three, we can reduce our interest rate. The one thing that very few people understand is how powerful that number is right there, that interest rate. It's the most misunderstood thing in real estate of how important it is and how big of an impact it makes on your property. Now, you got a 6% loan because that's the only possible, the only option that was there. But if you would have been able to get a 5% loan, we're going to go back and do our math here. A 6% interest rate, I'm sorry, $1.6 million purchase price at a 5% interest with a 30-year term, your payment goes down to $8,589. That's PI, principal and interest. So we got to compare this one to this one. So 1,000 pesos a month is the difference between a 5% and a 6%. Okay, which is pretty amazing. So let's do some more stuff here. Now, is one of your goals to own this house, to own a house free and clear and not have any payments on it?
of course.
Would you like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what would happen if we've got the same property, but this time we got 1.6 million is the loan amount, and it's at 6%. It's for 30 years. And our payment's $9,592. That's principal and interest, PI, principal and interest. All right. Now, what would happen if we increase that monthly payment? In fact, if we want to pay this thing off in 15 years, the payment goes 15 years. The payment goes to 12,652. So by simply increasing the payment, you're going to save 15 years.
So you mean it's better to increase my monthly payment compared to trying to really pay so that the principal amount will decrease? Like, because I have an option if I can go to the bank and then try to pay a particular amount of money and then tell them that I want to pay this directly to the principal amount. So, so are you saying that it's better to just increase the monthly payment, or?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. So what I'm saying is, so you understand the differences, is that same that same loan amount, 1.6 million at 6% over 15 years, your payment is 12,000 pesos versus 9. I'm just trying to make you so you understand the deal. Now, I bought millions and millions of dollars worth of real estate, and I use all this on my rental units and everything else. Now, what's interesting is that your total interest that you paid on the 6% is let's just go down here. So this right here at 6% for 30 years, you are paying in interest 1.853411 in interest. That's how much your interest you're paying on that 30-year note. If you do this in 15 years, you're only going to pay 677,485 in interest. You're paying $1.2 million less in interest because you did what? You increased the payment. Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
So you're saving $1.1 million, 1.1 million pesos by paying it off in 15 years versus 30. Did you know that?
Yeah, I kind of have an idea,
You
but
kind of have an idea, huh?
yeah. Well, in the Philippines, they usually say, "Oh, if you have an extra money, you go to the bank and then pay the principal amount so that your monthly will decrease like that."
Your monthly isn't
Uh,
decreasing because that's a fixed rate, but your principal, you're putting more money to the principal each month
okay.
because part of that's interest and part of it's principal.
Mm.
So by simply paying this over 15 years, you're going to save a lot of money. Oh my gosh. Wouldn't you like to own
Sounds
that
good.
property in 15 years versus 30?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What a great idea. All right. Now, that might be too hard of a thing to do. So if we did this over a 20-year period, the payment goes to 10,559. So you can see the differences here. The payment's just a little bit more depending on how many years you're doing it for. Right?
Right.
Okay. So congratulations, you bought a piece of real estate. You did the right thing. You bought a piece of real estate. Can you have this property free and clear in 30 years? Yeah. Can you increase the payment by 1,000 pesos a month and have it paid off 10 years faster?
Yeah.
Because if you do it in 20 years, the total interest is 934,230. Okay, that's the interest. So you can see by doing it in 20 years versus 30 years, that's the difference. But if you do this one here, you're going to save 900,000
Mm.
in interest
15 years less.
by only doing it 10 years less.
Oh.
Where does the bank make all their stinking money? When you're making that payment, let's see how that works here. Amortization. So what happens is that when you make a payment, part of it's interest and part of it's principal. This is literally how the bank works.
Mm.
So do you know how an amortization works? No, you don't, do you? Next question. Did you go to college?
Mm-hmm.
Did you
Yes.
graduate from college?
Yes.
What did you graduate in?
Education.
Education. Did you get educated about the real world?
No.
Why are you laughing, dude?
We were
Because
taught about literature. It's not about
literature. Who gives a crap about literature? Literature doesn't make the mortgage payment.
Right.
All right. So how it works is that you owe $1.6 million on it. they're going to say 6%. Everybody pull out your calculator. I want you to take 1.6 million times 6%. Pull out your calculator, everybody. 1.6 million times 6%. That is the yearly amount of interest you're going to pay.
$96,000.
96 what?
96,000.
96,000. Okay, that's what it is for a year. Divide by 12 because there's 12 months in a year.
Right.
That's 1.152.
No, 96,000 divided by 12
Oh,
Eight.
sorry.
8,000.
is equals $8,000. All right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that in the first month, that is the interest that you're paying in that first month. Your total payment's $9,592. Correct?
Right.
So your whole payment's $95.92. So $1,500, $1,600 is principal. So in that first payment, guess what? You just paid the bank $6,000 and $8,000 in interest. 8,000 pesos in interest. The vast majority of your payment went to interest. The other 1,600 went to principal, right?
Right.
That kind of sucks, doesn't it? So what happens is that you take the 1.6 million, and in the second month, we're going to subtract 1,600 because that is the amount that went to principal. How much money do we owe the next month? Take 1.6 million, subtract 1,600. Everybody pull out your calculators. You can do this with us. This is like play at home with us. And throw the answer in the chat there.
1.5.
1.5 what?
1,598,400.
1,594,000?
98,400.
All right. Times 6% equals what? Take 1,598,400 times 6%.
95,904.
95,000 what?
904.
904. We got a college educated dude here. Nobody taught him this because why? Because they want to keep you in debt and they want you paying these suckers for the rest of your life. Because you got a freaking degree in literature instead of in banking, in finance. What the hell? All right. So that's the amount. Now we got to divide that by 12 because there's 12 months in a year. We're looking at the interest for this. And so take 95,904. Divide by 12 equals what?
It's going to be 7,992.
What is that? That's interest. So the second payment, guess what? You're paying 8 pesos less in interest in the second month. Now your payment still is the 95.92. That's your payment. So how much of that is going towards principal? Subtract those two numbers. And you guys at home, throw it in the chat. Want to see if you understand what we're doing here. Seven, nine, nine, two. Yeah, well, I made a small mistake on that. That should be just a little bit higher. That should be 1608. So the principal went up just a little bit. That's how an amortization works. Every month, your interest and principal changes just a little bit. Now, the big thing is, and that's kind of fun if you want to know how it works, but the big thing is, look at this. The difference in total interest that you're going to pay over the life of that loan, if you can reduce your interest rate or you can increase your payment, you're going to pay a lot less in interest over the life of that loan. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, next question. How much could you rent that property for?
Give me 1 second.
Airbnbs.
12,000.
You think so? So
Three
we could,
bedroom. So
you could rent that for 12,000, right?
mm,
What's your monthly payment on it?
10,800.
Really? So your
Really?
rent is 12,000. That's a plus. Your minus is your mortgage. And you said how much is the total payment? 10,800?
10,800. Yeah, monthly.
Okay. 10,000. Okay, how much does that leave you?
1,200.
1,200 for what? For other costs.
Mm.
Now, here's the perfect example of this. Do you think that the rent will go up in a couple of years from now?
Yes.
Okay, let's say that goes up to what? 1,600? 16,000?
Yeah. We have the new Clark City, so
Okay, so now is your payment going to change? No.
I'm not gonna do. Yeah, still
It's
10,800.
gonna, the interest in principal is going to stay the same. It's a 30-year fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So are you going to have more money coming in the future than you do today?
Yeah. I do.
You're going to have more money in the future. Could you not take that higher payment because you're going to bring in another $5,200? Could you pay that house off faster now? Do you have more revenue that you could pay off that house faster with the increased rent?
I'm trying to make more money. Step
No.
one.
If the rent was more in a couple of years from now and you got more rent, could you take that rent, that higher amount of rent, and could you pay that property off faster?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. All right. Make sense? So instead of paying the 10,800, we're going to pay the 16 and we're going to pay that sucker off a lot faster. So my point is, do you care how much interest you're paying if somebody else is renting it off of you? Do you care? Yes, the correct answer is yes and no.
Um. Probably no.
Because the other schmo is making the payment.
Right.
Right? Who's the schmo making the payment on this house?
Other person.
And if it's you living in it, who's the schmo making the payment?
It's me.
So who's the schmo?
Hmm.
So do you want me to show you I made $10 million in real estate, 10 million US dollars?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? So I bought a 4-unit building for 250,000 US dollars. I got a loan on it, and I got a loan on it. And every month I had rental income coming in. I had expenses going out, which is the mortgage
Mm.
and maintenance. Okay. As the rents went up, I started making bigger payments.
Mm.
So when the rent went up, I started making bigger payments. So this were on a 30-year loan. And some of these properties I paid off in 25 and some of them in 20 years because the rent went up, but my payment stayed the same.
Mm.
So I got more rental income. So what did I do with that extra money? I took that extra money and I increased the payment. So I didn't pay it off in 30 years. I paid them off in 25 and some I paid off in 20. You with me so far? Now,
Yeah.
over a 25 year period, the loans went from 250,000 to zero because the renters made the payments on them over that period of time.
Mm.
The renters made the payments. What happened to the value of that property? It went up. It's called appreciation. It went up in value, right?
Mm-hmm.
So over a period of time, they went up to 500,000. This is real deal here, guys. So the value went up to 500,000. How much do I owe on the property? The loans went to zero. The loans paid off because the renters gave me all this money for rental income. How much do I owe?
Nothing.
How much?
Zero.
Zero. What's the property worth?
500.
If I sold it, how much is my profit?
It's going to be 250, 50% of it.
That 250 was loans. It's not my money.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. Now you're the 250 were loans. I borrowed that money and then I paid it off over 20 years. Did I pay them a lot of money in interest? Yes. Did I bring a lot of money in rent in? Yeah. Who literally paid these properties off for me?
The renters.
The renters. I had very little money into them.
Hmm.
You know, I basically had nothing down in them.
Hmm.
All right. So now what's my profit? If I sold it for 500,000 and I don't owe anything, what's my profit?
500,000.
Is that a pretty good deal?
Yes.
Good. Guess what? I had 20 of them.
No way. Got 10 million?
What's that?
That's a lot.
And guess what? I don't have a college degree. Oh, hell, what's the problem with this picture? You went to school and studied the wrong stupid stuff. Now, I did go to college for 3.5 years and I studied business, but I went to Bob Allen's Nothing Down seminar and I started reading real estate and I started studying money. I studied money. I studied successful people. And that's how I made $10 million. You want to know how the foundation was founded? How do you think how the foundation got its money in there?
Real estate.
I took 3 of these and gave to the foundation. That's 500,000 times 3. That's 1.5 million. And then I gave some Berkshire Hathaway stock and a couple houses. And that's how the foundation was funded. I did it with real estate. Nobody gave me some money to give away. I did it with real estate. My real estate made us enough money. Now, why did I do that? 1, I wanted to. 2, I got plenty of money to take care of the kids, and we're still going to give money away. But that's how the foundation was funded, was with real estate, the stuff I'm teaching you. Now, here's the problem with what you're doing. There's no problem, but now, this is better than your literature. Stinking the literature you should be reading is Bob Allen and multiple streams of income and nothing down and crap like that. Forget this other stuff. Right? Can I have a little fun with you there, Ryan? Is it okay?
Yeah, of course.
You're going, what?
This is a better literature, you know.
Yeah, what the crap is this guy doing? All right. Now, why didn't anybody else teach you this? Because it's not in their best interest to teach you this. The banks don't want you to know. What does the bank want you to do? The bank wants you to pay this for 30 years. The bank wants you to pay it for 30 years. Why? Because they're going to make a lot more money on you. They don't want you to pay this in 15 years. They don't want you to pay it in 20 years. They want you to be their slave and pay the dang money to them every month. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer because the rich understand how it works and the poor don't. So the poor keep making them payments. Now, let's talk about the rest of this. You bought this how many years ago?
Let's see. So 2 years ago.
Okay, and you bought it for 1.7. Okay, so you bought it for 1.7. Today, 2024, what's the resale value? If you were to turn around and sell this property, how much could you sell it for?
I was thinking about 2.5, so I think I'm gonna make it 3. Like 3, if I'm gonna resell it.
How much do you owe?
I still owe, I'm looking at my screen right now. My outstanding balance is 1.5.
Okay, so you paid it down a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what you owe. What's your profit?
So 3 million.
Minus?
8 to 1, 1.4.
Okay. All right, but you owe 1.5 right now, correct on it?
Yeah.
Okay, so So right now, I should say, what's your equity? Let's use that word. What's your equity? Your equity is 1.5 million.
Hmm.
Now you put $100,000 down on it. That was your down payment, right?
Hmm.
What's your rate of return? You took 100,000 and turned it into 15. So just take off all the zeros,
Hmm.
right? You made 1 equal 15. You 15x'd it. You didn't get a 3% rate of return or a 5% rate of return. You got a stinking 15 times return. You're going, what? You took 100,000 and turned it into 1.5 million.
Hmm.
What's your rate of return? Is it 5%, 10%, 15%? $1,500% rate of return.
Hmm.
The correct answer is I don't care. It's a crap load. It's a lot. Now, can you imagine if you would have figured this out, if you would have known what you were doing? You made money on a piece of property because you were stupid enough to want to own a place to live. Did you do anything brilliant with that property?
Uh,
No. You were smart enough to buy it. Did you buy it to make a profit on it?
just want to live in there.
Oh, my wife says we need a place to live, and so we're going to go buy a piece of real estate, and we bought a piece of real estate. Now we made a buck on it.
Hmm.
Now I'm giving you a little bit of grief here because
Hmm.
I want you to understand. You're going, oh, look at that! I made money on this deal, and I did it out of
Hmm.
stupidity and because I just bought it. Now imagine if you knew what the crap you were doing. Imagine if you were intentional. How can I go find more pieces of real estate?
Hmm.
Now this property went up in value. Are properties going to continue to go up in value? Yeah. Why? Because of inflation.
Hmm.
The governments of the world can't balance their bills, so they print more money. They're printing more money. As a result, stuff's getting to be worth less money. All right, class, give me some feedback here. Give me some thoughts. What are you thinking about this? Come on out and give some thoughts here to Ryan. What are you thinking on this thing? What do you think, guys? You got any input? Or are you just not going to answer the questions? Come on, guys, talk to me what you think. Ryan, what do you think?
I need to start looking for people to rent this place so they can pay for me.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, he could potentially make 1.5 million profit if he sells it right now, right?
Yeah.
But then he's still got to find somewhere else to live. So,
Yeah.
is the goal to just, I mean, you can always just move in with family, which is awesome if you could. But is the goal to just find a really good deal on your next property?
Go schmuck
How
off
do you
your
roll that
parents.
into the next? How do you roll that into the next deal?
Go schmuck off your parents as long as you can. Nah, you don't have to do that. But what I'm saying here is uh, forget the literature crap. Go study the right stuff. You're studying the wrong stuff.
Hmm.
You know. So now what now what? Now what? What else can you do with your time and what else can you do with your money? Can you take that 1.5 million? What else can you do with it? Well, on your house, you can keep it. You can keep it. Nothing wrong with that. Could you take that 1.5 and can you go find another deal?
Hmm. buy more real estate, huh? Mm.
Can you buy real estate with nothing down? You pretty much did. You put $100,000 down on a $1.6 million, $1.7 million property. You put like what, 5%? About 5% down.
Is that common there?
It's
That
common.
low?
It's common everywhere, Ethan. How come you only had to put? How come you only had to put 100,000 down? Because that's the program. They want you to own that property, and then they want to slave you into making the payments all this time.
Mm.
I want you, next time you walk in the bank, I want you to go, hell, I'm loaning people. I'm paying these people money. They should treat me better. How come I feel so stupid when I walk into a bank? Well, they should be paying me more. All right, so he's bugging out. Ryan's going, oh my gosh, I didn't want to do this. Oh
No, you got me thinking about it. So I'm just trying to.
All right, so here's your options. You could keep it. You could keep it. That's great. Could you increase the payment on it? Yeah. Could you pay it off quicker? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Could you rent it?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Could you flip it? Yeah. What are you going to do? I'm going to take my 1.5 and I'm going to go do it again.
Mm.
You don't have to buy real estate with nothing down. You just have to get a good deal. If you walked in and started finding some more properties, could you buy a 4-unit building with 1.5 down?
Yeah, like a row house. I think you can.
Like a 4-unit building.
Yes.
Okay, so now you're going to take your money and we're going to go roll it and go do it again.
Right.
We're going to flip it.
Mm.
And we're going to go do it again. We're going to take that money and we're going to go make more money with it.
Mm.
So to rent it, so my point is that what else can you do with your money and what else can you do with your time? This is the question, what else? This is a question you should be asking every day. What else can I do with my money and what else can I do with my time? What else can I do with that? And if I'm every day you're thinking this is the most important thing I can do today, then you're on the right track. What else can I do with my money and what else can I do with my time? I got 1.5 million pesos sitting in my house. Do I want to just keep it and live in it and be happily ever after and have my little wife love me because we have our own little house? Or are we saying, screw it. I'm going to take that money and go do it again. Do you need to take that money and do it again? Yes and no. You can find deals with nothing down. You can go find a partner to do it. Can you do more units? Can you come up with that 1.5 and get a better price? And then can you flip it? Can you buy a property and then can you flip it and make a profit? And then let's say that you did it again and you made, let's say you say 500 on this next deal. Now you got 2 million to go do another deal. So the property I'm showing you here was a long-term deal. But at the same time, when I'd find a deal, I'd flip it. I'd find good little deals, then I'd flip them. And then what I do? I'd do it again. And I'd do it again, and I'd do it again, and I'd do it again. What I'm noticing about a lot of the people in the class is you're spending all of your time making yourself a job that doesn't pay much. You made a crap load of money on this piece of real estate out of sheer stupidity. You didn't go into this trying to make a buck, did you? You bought the house so you and the little wife and the kid can have a place to live. Just imagine what you could do if you now were intentional about where you're going. What is your what are you supposed to do with your time? You're supposed to go make some money. Number one, make more money. That's step number one. Number 6 is to make more money with your business, your real estate. That's part of what we teach you. And all you guys are spending too much of your time, spending all your time doing your job and making no money. You'll make more money. I'm going to go back out to Royale for a second. You'll make more money as an investor than a baker. You made more money as an investor than a school teacher. Would you agree with that? I'm kind of grilling you here, aren't I there, Ryan? So the number one is to make more money. Number one is to make more money. And you need to do that with a job. Why? Because you need some income, but you all need your small business. Number 6 is to turn that small business into a large business and do real estate. Now you made a profit on a deal and you did it just just because you wanted a place to live. All right, now he's going, I didn't want to know that much information, right?
I did.
I can't believe this guy grilled me about this property. Did you learn anything?
Yeah, I did. Definitely.
Okay, what'd you learn?
You have to make more money out of something that you have and then do it again, like that.
Yeah, 5 Fs.
And then get other people pay your own property for you.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, the 5 Fs.
Find it, fund it, fix it. Then you're either going to flip it or farm. The 5 Fs. So you made money just out of sheer luck and stupidity because you didn't know what you were doing. Just imagine if you studied and you're intentional about it. Wow. Now you're going to be on the roller coaster, dude. Real estate's a roller coaster. But all I know is over time, the roller coaster keeps going up. Why? Because of inflation and appreciation. What's the difference between appreciation? What's the difference between appreciation and inflation? Appreciation is because we appreciate it. Your property went up in value. You didn't do anything to deserve it. Inflation is costs. The rich are getting richer. Why? Because they're doing what we teach. The poor are getting poorer. Why? Because they're not buying stuff that goes up in value. And it's a game, guys. It's a game. It's tough. You got to figure out you got to do these things right here. It's really key. This is the biggie right here, number 6. You got to take your small business and turn it into a large business, and you got to do some real estate. While you make money from your job and you live, you got to make money from your job, and then you need to save and spend right down here, and your job is to get as much money in there as you possibly can. Your job here, number 7, this is the real key, is the wealth formula. Is to put money away one way or another, either real cash or it's growing, times have it go up in value, times time. That equals wealth. And so that is the key. That's number 7. That's the key. You got to put money away every month. It's got to go up in value. You got to invest in things that go up in value. Times time. This isn't something we're going to do overnight because we're going to grow not one money tree. We're going to grow a whole stinking orchard of money trees. You like my money trees there? and they produce fruit. That's the key. The people that don't do that are at the whims of everybody else. All right. Now you're probably going, that's great information, Tom, but that's more information than I wanted to know. All right. Any feedback? Throw it in the chat here. What's the feedback you guys got?
Well, Angelo said buy 10 more like that and get lower interest rate and rent it out.
Okay, that's one option. That goes back here to what else can I do with my time? What else can I do with my money? What else can I do with my time? What else can I do with my money? Right here. What else can I do with my time? What else can I do with my money? Can I take that money and rent it out? Sure. That's one of the things I could do is I could rent it. Could I use that money and start flipping more deals? Yeah, sure. Or could I just increase the payment? Have the payment go up and pay it off quicker. So this is the fun part about what we do. You get to decide what you want to be when you grow up. For me, I wanted to be wealthy. To me, I wanted to be wealthy. Just curious, how many of you guys in the thing want to be wealthy or how many want to be poor? I'm just curious. Throw in the chat. I'm just curious. What do you want? Wealthy. All right. All right. Wealthy, 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 wealthy. Yeah. So the first thing is you got to change your college, whatever you learned in college, throw it out. Where you got to study from people that are doing it. You got to study from people that are doing it. Okay, good. All right, we're going to say goodbye to our friends from around the world. Thank you for doing that case study with us. We're going to come back out and we're going to do some more talking about stuff. So hang on. And Ryan, dude, congratulations. Do you have new ideas now?
Yeah, I do.
Thank you. Or you have new thoughts like, oh my gosh, I could do some other stuff.
For sure.
Okay. Will this put you ahead?
Definitely, yes.
The rich are getting richer because they do things that the poor don't. And you can see it's not that hard to do. The strategies are simple. You just got to go out there and go hustle. And wealth is a game and games are fun. All right. Stay tuned, everybody. We're going to come back. We're going to talk to the rest of our crew here, and then we're going to possibly do another deal if you're not all exhausted. Thanks for